Block party turning up the volume. Miller on the slide. Game, set, match.
Spectacular crowd inside Mackey Arena. Purdue builds a huge lead.
It's all! The hammer! Purdue is going to beat Tennessee here at the Broadway Block Party.
It is down. History for Dave Shondell. The all-time wins.
Welcome back to the Big City Podcast, postseason edition. I'm Cory Palm. He's head coach Dave Shondell, and we are brought to you by Franciscan Health, the official medical provider of Purdue Athletics. Coach, we've got so much ground to cover today. We might have to split this thing into two shows. It's crazy how everything comes to a head all at once, and this is the most wonderful time of the year, I would think.
If you're in the tournament, it certainly is. If you're not, and there's some teams I'm sure that are heartbroken right now that had a chance to get in and just didn't quite cut the mustard. But we did get in, and we have a fair draw. You don't get easy draws anymore in the NCAA tournament. Just too many good volleyball teams that are out there, and of course, we have another seeded team coming our way in Baylor, who will play Arkansas State in the first match on Thursday. I think it's a 4:30 start.
Yeah,
4:30 start. We'll see Baylor from the Big 12 and Arkansas State, and then we will play a really good Wright State team that just went through their tournament like a buzzsaw. So I had a chance to watch them quite a bit last night for a couple hours, and then this morning I go to my little cave that I found here on campus that I can really get a lot of work done in a shorter amount of time. And I've been watching them some more. But the Wright State's a good team, got some good Indiana kids on that team that we talked about a little bit off the air. And very well coached. They've been in the NCAA tournament, I think, maybe 3 times in the last 4 years, so nothing new for them.
No doubt about that. We will talk a little bit more about the tournament draw during the second half of the show. What I don't want to do is I don't want to get too far away from last Saturday's match against IU before we address, the way your Boilermakers ended the regular season on a heck of an upswing, a dominant performance over the Hoosiers Saturday afternoon in Mackey Arena. Just kind of a buzzsaw.
Well, yeah, but here was the most impressive thing. Blizzard outside, okay?
It was brutal.
It was. The weather was awful.
Horrible.
It took me an hour and 20 minutes to get home on what's usually a 30-minute drive. Hour and 20 minutes after that match to get home. I had good thoughts in my mind as I was driving, fortunately. But the crowd that showed up for that match was one of the most unbelievable things that I've ever seen at Purdue. To know that the weather was awful, it was hard to get there. People knew it was going to be harder to get home.
Yep.
Yet we had over 11,000 people. We sold more tickets than that, okay? But there were 11,000 that came into that venue last night or on Saturday, and helped our team, I think, find our vibe. And I thought we started out really well. We hit 547 in the first set to kind of set the tone for the match. I think we held Indiana to right about 100 hitting percentage, and they're a team that is really hard to stop. Ask anybody in the Big Ten. They're a hard team to stop. But I thought defensively we were really, really good, had some really good moments offensively. To win that one 3-1, we got the set we lost was, I think, a 26-24 affair that we had battled back to tie, and I thought we had a chance to sweep Indiana in Mackey Arena, but they won that third set, and then we came back and controlled the fourth set. So a really good effort for our guys going into the tournament, and we should feel pretty good about where we are right now.
Pretty balanced attack, too. Kenna Wooler with 15 kills. Cash Anderson had 11. Taylor Anderson finally showed her offense a little bit with 7 kills. I know you've been mentioning that all season long, and she mentioned it during the press conference following the match that you've been pushing her to do that. It's nice to see her.
She runs her own program, okay? Taylor runs her own program, but she has evolved, and I think we'll talk a little bit about just the development of our players at some point in time on this show. But Taylor Anderson is a delight right now. I mean, she has just become who she is, and a much more aggressive competitor, runs the show extremely well on our side of the net. She almost had a quadruple double. I mean, not she wasn't knocking on the door, but she had a ton of blocks. I think she had 7 blocks. She had 7 or 8 kills. She had the digs, and she had the assists. Just a masterful performance by Taylor, and I think she goes totally unnoticed in this country of setters. A lot of great setters out there. Very few are getting the attention that others in the Big Ten are, but Taylor is as good as anybody right now. Just an athletic setter that can play balls around the net. And now when you add the fact that she's taking advantage of being 6'1", touching 10'3", 10'4", that's going to make us really, really hard to defend. Because in the past, people didn't have to pay much attention to her. Now you better pay attention to Taylor because she's going to score some points.
Absolutely. One thing we also saw on Saturday was she fed the middles a little bit. 5 kills for Lindsey Miller. Dior Charles had a couple. They were blocking like normal. Great to see that production.
Dior Charles put on a blocking demonstration in that match. I think she had 10 blocks, if I'm correct. That's an awful lot of blocks against a really good team. So happy with the progress of her as well. But Taylor has been setting the middles a lot more. And again, you got to diversify your offense, and you want to make it difficult for a team like Wright State when they come in and start trying to get ready to prepare and put a defensive plan together. What do? Our left sides have been really, really good. Grace Heaney on the right side has hit about 350 in the last 10 matches, which is exceptional for anybody in our league. And now you got the middles getting hot, and all 3 of them can come in and play. We didn't even play Bianca in that last match because the other 2 held things in place pretty well. And they do have a little more experience, which is kind of why we've gone with Dior and Lindsey in those spots. But, man, Bianca is playing every bit as good as them in practice and in matches here late. So feel good about where we are right now. Everybody's healthy. We got no problems right now. Just a matter of getting ourselves ready to play and have the attitude that we need to have when we step on that floor. You
improved to 22-1 all time in your career against Indiana here in West Lafayette. That's.
I did not know. I know what our overall record has been against them. I don't know what we were at home. I remember the loss. Okay, but it's been a while.
Yeah,
it's been a while. So that's good. I think that the fact that I grew up in this state, and I remember watching the great battles between Bob Knight and Gene Cady and a lot of other people, that it means a lot. I think to our team that we perform in that match. And on a night after, their Indiana's football team, who's number 2 in the country, came in and, just, I guess, played like they're capable of playing and knocked us off. I felt like it was an opportunity for our volleyball team to rebound for the sake of the Boilermaker fans. And again, when that many show up in inclement temperatures and weather, it was easy for our team to be ready to play.
Your Boilermakers finished 15-5 in the Big Ten. That is tied for 3rd with USC. 15-5 is.
We're gonna take ownership of the tiebreaker. Since we beat the Trojans 3-0 in a head-to-head matchup on their court, so we're gonna go ahead and take that. I don't know if Brad Keller would appreciate that or not, but because they really don't have a tiebreaker in those situations. It's a tie for 3rd, and we're thrilled, quite honestly, to be in 3rd place in the Big Ten. It's a great conference, and our kids just played their tails off all year long to compete and get to a spot where we're going to be seeded in the NCAA tournament and have an opportunity to win some matches.
Let's go ahead and talk a little bit about the NCAA tournament, the draw, how the rest of the Big Ten did, what it all looks like after the break.
The Dig City Podcast is brought to you by Franciscan Health, the exclusive healthcare provider for Purdue Athletics. Franciscan, inspiring health, working for a better tomorrow. Go to franciscanhealth.org for more information. Now, back to the show.
The Boilermakers take on Wright State Thursday in round 1 of the NCAA tournament in Holloway Gymnasium on Beeland Court. I'd say get your tickets, but sounds like if you haven't gotten them yet, you might not get them. They were going fast, that's for sure, which you love to see that.
Well, it's just a change in the sport. I can remember we had some great teams as short as 7, 8, 9 years ago, and it was a challenge to sell out Holloway Gym. And from what I understand from our communications director, we sold them out in 15 minutes today. So so that's great that we got the place sold out. And I know we'll have plenty of Boilermaker fans in Holloway. You've got 3 teams coming, a couple of them from a distance, Baylor and Arkansas State, Wright State over in Dayton. I'm sure we'll have a crew that will come with them, but it'll be a Boilermaker crowd, which is when you get that seed, you expect to have a home court advantage, and let's just make sure they're loud and proud.
Absolutely. That's what you battle all year for, is to get that home court advantage, and it's here, so let's make it count. Wright State, you've talked about them a little bit already. They were kind of middle of the league, not the top of their one bid league, and found their way into their conference tournament.
I think they finished the regular season second or third.
So it looked like third.
Yeah, and Northern Kentucky went 17-1, and were the favorite in the conference tournament. But Wright State stormed in and just hammered everybody. I mean, I think they beat, was it Oakland in the who they play in a semi?
I'm pulling that up here.
I don't think it was Oakland. It was some.
They at least Oakland the last week of the regular season.
But anyway, they won 3-0 in the tournament and got the bid to come to the NCAA tournament. And they have two starters that are from Indiana, kid out of Fort Wayne that I remember watching play for Pineapple Volleyball Club, was really athletic, and I thought that she had great talent when I watched her play. And they have a kid out of Greenwood High School that played for the Academy out of Indianapolis that also had a really good arm back when she was playing for them, and I remember them very well. And then Eva Hudson's sister out of Dwenger High School that played with Munciana and also with Pineapple is kind of a part-time player for them. So 3 Indiana kids that will be coming back with Wright State, and I'm sure they'll play with a lot of purpose when they step on the floor here in West Lafayette.
It was Youngstown State that they beat in the semis, but yeah, they swept the way through.
I knew you'd find that.
Yeah.
I gave you time.
Anytime you can bring up the Penguins, you got to do it.
But Wright State has been in the tournament some here as a matter of fact, they were over here not that long ago. I don't think we played them. I can't remember if we played. I don't think we played Wright State. We played. Maybe we did. Maybe we did play Wright State a few years ago when they came over. But I'm getting old.
I'm the same. If the seeds hold, Baylor is the other seeded team in this region as a 6th seed coming in. What do you know about the Bears?
No stranger to going deep in the NCAA tournament. I do recall Caitlin Newton's might have been her sophomore year. I can't remember exactly which year it was. We went down to Baylor. We had a good team. But so did Baylor. And I think it was a Sweet 16 match, and they beat us in the first round of the Sweet 16 down there. We've played them a couple of times during regular season. I think they made one visit up here. We made one visit down there. But they're very well coached. They expect to win. I'm not sure what their Big 12 record was, but Big 12 got 10 teams in the tournament, so they're used to playing really good teams. And I think that they end up being ranked in the top 25. They were kind of right there between 18 and 25, I think, most of the season. But I know they're big and physical. Brielle Warren, who played here her freshman year, is on that roster. Okay. Her sister is on that roster and is a starter and one of their key players. Not real big, about 5'10", but just real springy with a fast arm. I have not watched a lick of them in the last 24 hours. Okay, I did see some of them, during the season when I was watching other teams play. But I'll have my chance to watch them later once we feel like we've got the first opponent, well scouted and that we're prepared for them.
Okay. When that draw came out yesterday and you saw on the other side of the bracket, the top seed in your region is Pittsburgh, and the 2 seed is SMU, a team you're very familiar with. Again, we don't get too far ahead of things. It's about Wright State right now. But seeing those other 2 teams on the other side of the bracket, what were your thoughts?
Well, first of all, I agree with what you said, is that we really don't get very far ahead. And I know the challenge in winning the first one and the second one before you can even think about who's beyond that. I probably pay less attention to that than most coaches do, because you really don't know for sure who's going to advance in those other rounds.
That's
true.
true.
I mean, only person you have any control over, and that's not complete control, is Purdue. And so we want to make sure that we're ready for Wright State. And then if we are fortunate to beat Wright State, we're ready for either Arkansas State or Baylor, whoever is next. I think that, you did not want to be in the same bracket with Nebraska. I just think that's common knowledge, is that's not where you wanted to be.
Right.
They seem to be the team right now that has the most talent and is on a roll. They lost maybe one set during the Big Ten season play. First undefeated team in the Big Ten since Penn State did it many, many years ago. So that's where you probably did not want to be. I thought there was another bracket that was really, really good. Okay. But Pitt was the 4 seed. Okay. Overall, the 4 seed. SMU's the 5 seed.
Yeah.
We've seen SMU. We beat SMU. I don't know if that's helpful or hurtful. If we would happen to face them down the road or not. But I just know for this team, getting through this first 2 rounds would be great for this team. And then you get in and you feel like you're playing with house money at that point in time. And I think that would be a great mindset for our team to have going into what might be a regional, tournament round. But again, all I know is right now my mind's 100% on Wright State, and it will stay that way until, I know that we're as prepared as we can be.
Yeah. 9 teams.
Was that a bad answer?
No, it was a great answer. That was pretty much exactly what I thought you would say. 9 teams from the Big Ten get in, including top overall seed Nebraska.
Michigan was on the bubble.
Yep.
Michigan was on the bubble. Really happy to see that Aaron Virtue's team got in. I mean, that was one of our reverse sweeps up there at Michigan, and they've got plenty of talent, and they'll be hard to handle. So they were on the outside looking in, but they got in, and now they're in a position to go beat people. And I would not be surprised if they don't do that. I think they play Xavier from the Big East in the first round. I think that will be a real Donnybrook. They were the last team to get in. I thought Oregon was a team that was good enough to be in, but their RPI did not merit that much attention, unfortunately. Illinois' win-loss record, their RPI was respectable, but their win-loss record was not adequate to get in. So 9 was about as many as we could get in, and I think Michigan was the 9th team, and but it's been a good league this year. Been a lot of good teams, a lot of balance. We talked about the fact that there was Nebraska, and there were really about 12 or 13 more teams that were just beating up on each other all throughout the year.
You get tired of beating up on each other. It's nice to be able to beat up on some other people again here in the postseason.
Well, it is nice to get outside the league after you've been in it for 20 matches. And I still feel, and we talked about this once before, is how about a bye week?
That would be helpful.
You just play and you play and you play, and it just feels like it's Groundhog Day. You just do it over and over again, and it would be nice to give your players' bodies and minds just maybe a week off that they could get a little bit of a break.
Speaking of, not really speaking of bye week, this is a complete non sequitur. The SEC went back to their conference tournament last week. They got a lot of attention for that. For me, it seems like a nightmare trying to cram that many games into consecutive days right before the most important part of your season.
Yeah, it just kind of depends on where you are in that tournament format. I mean, their format is a lot like what we're doing right now for men's and women's basketball, where if you're a top 4 seed, you're not playing the first 2 days. You're sitting there waiting for people to claw their way into that group of 8 teams, and then you start to play. So a Kentucky and a Texas and an A&M and whoever the other, maybe Tennessee, I can't remember who the 4th team was, they wait, and then the most they're going to play is 3, okay? But the way that they put their tournament together, they were done on Tuesday. They're done on Tuesday.
Done on Tuesday, so they
so
all week.
The Big Ten's still playing Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
True.
We played Saturday in a snowstorm,
Yeah.
okay? And their teams were all done.
On top of a road trip to Minnesota on Wednesday.
Yeah. So in some ways, yeah, they had to win the thing. If you're not one of those highly seeded teams, you might have to play 5 days in a row. Chances are in our sport, that's not going to happen. Vanderbilt tried to do that. They won a couple. They were the bottom, maybe the bottom seed in the tournament, and they won a couple. So they played 3, but they needed to win all 5 of them to get into the NCAA tournament. So I've got mixed emotions about it. I thought they got a huge amount of attention. There were some great matches. They got great coverage. I think we might be 2 years away.
Okay.
It won't happen next year. I think next year that we're putting together kind of an SEC Big Ten battle type thing the first week of the season.
Nice.
More on that later. But I don't think we're ready to go to the tournament yet. But I think that I thought the SEC tournament went pretty well. And every single match on SEC Network or on ESPN, and some good matches that got a lot of attention. So I think that our commissioner is in favor of that. So that might be enough said.
Right.
Okay. But they want to promote this sport of volleyball. The commissioner knows what he has in Big Ten volleyball.
Yeah.
And if they can find the right place that you're going to sell out night after night, and make it a great atmosphere, then I'm in favor of giving it a shot. I have been all along.
Okay.
I've been in favor. Everybody, talks about it, and they have all these negative thoughts about it. I say, how can you be negative about it when it hasn't been tried? And especially if you can be done well before the NCAA tournament, which is what happened down in, I think they played that in Savannah, Georgia.
Yeah. That is a great bonus for everyone. That I would think would be a huge selling point. Here you get 5 extra days of rest on the.
And they just play a single round robin. Here we're playing a single round robin plus you're playing 3 additional teams. In our case, it was Illinois, Minnesota, and Indiana. So 2 of the teams that we played twice are seeded teams in the NCAA tournament. So we got a pretty tough draw when it came to this year.
All right, Dave, let's get back to this current team. The development of this squad throughout the course of this year. We go back to a year ago, and a little less than a year ago, nobody knew what this squad was going to be. And even once you started getting commits and people transferring in, nobody knew how it was going to go. I'd say, all indications are it's gone very well. And it's been a lot of fun. That's been sort of a recurring theme for you all years, how fun this team is to be around. They're a joy to be around at practice, at games, off the court. How much development has gone?
It's a precarious segment that we're going into here because, first of all, the regular season has been unbelievable. There's nobody in America that expected Purdue to have this kind of a season, all right? But college teams are evaluated by what they do in the NCAA tournament.
Right.
Okay. So we have to be prepared to go out and play just as well in the NCAA tournament as we have in most of these matches that we played during the regular season. But we've gotten to this point to where there's much optimism in the Purdue camp because of a lot of things. All right. The 8 players that returned have been so, I don't know how to describe it, but just so committed to doing something special here. And they've been the leaders in the clubhouse, and they've made a lot of really, really positive things happen off the floor and on the floor for this team. And they were better than people thought they were. Okay. I mean, we've already talked about Taylor Anderson not getting, the dues that she deserves, but she's a great player. She will be this year, her setting this year is probably as good as any setter we've had all season. She can set the ball. She can go get it. She's making sets that she didn't even think about making before. Now she's getting offensive and she's serving well. She's a complete player. Just been a real gem dandy. Then you look at Kenna Woolard. Very few people in the country have taken a step like she has, going from one position to another position, playing 3 rotations to playing 6 rotations, to being a 5-tool player on our team and being a unanimous pick. I guess we can say this. I don't know. I think she's a unanimous pick for all Big Ten, and hopefully she'll be somewhere in the All-American list, when we get to that point. Grace Heaney, kind of a forgotten name because you didn't play a year ago, And now Grace is a 6th rotation player on our team. And I didn't think that was going to happen.
Right.
That wouldn't have been on my list of things that were going to happen in 2025. But she's a great defender. She's serving the ball well. We can set her out of the back row. She's got the mindset that you want to have. You want to have that steadiness on the floor. Those three have just been, kind of the staples to some extent. Ryan McAleer, we knew that she was going to be a great little player, great little libero, especially a great little defensive player.
Yeah.
She's now passing at about a 2.45, which is an outstanding rating in the sport of volleyball, especially if you're playing in the Big Ten where people serve the ball extremely tough. She brings energy, she brings fight, she brings this presence on the floor that every coach wants to have and every player wants to have from their libero. Cash Anderson, let's start to get a little bit into some of these. Well, let me go to Julia Kane first. Julia Kane, we have 2 of the best passers in the Big Ten, and they're back there side by side for 3 rotations, and that allows us to run our offense. But Julia Kane was kind of an unknown quantity, serving specialist a year ago, and now she's embraced her role here to be a bigger player, a great passer, a good defender, our best server, and she's made a big difference for us. There's no question about that. And then also Rachel Williams and Sienna Foster, also back from that group, and they've done a great job serving the ball for us. Dave Shondell, who is our backup setter that's just, runs the show for the second unit all the time and does it with a smile on her face, okay? So that's kind of the group that has returned for us that I think you start with them. We built with them, and they've just had an incredible desire to do something that nobody thought they could do here during this season. And then you get to this group that transferred in. Cash Anderson out of Michigan State, was at Auburn before that, kind of a journeywoman, I guess you could say, because she's been in a lot of different places, got here, fell in love with Purdue, and is hitting at a higher pace. I had a couple of Big Ten coaches talk to me the other day that they just could not believe the level of play that we're getting from Cash Anderson, hitting about 280 in Big Ten play, a shutdown blocker for us on the left side, passing at about a 2.22, 2.25, which is really good for a left side that hasn't done a ton of passing in their career. And she's a leader on the floor, very vocal, doing a great job. Lindsey Miller, okay, who's been kind of banged up throughout the year, not banged up right now, fought through a really interesting shoulder issue to where now she's back and she's playing at a high level. Dior Charles, the blocking machine, is one of those tough customers that you have to have on your team if you want to compete in the Big Ten and now go on in the NCAA tournament. A gifted athlete, undersized, but knows it, and therefore she plays a lot harder because of that. Natalie Moravec, you mentioned her. She's been our first person off the bench to come in for our 2 left side hitters, and every time she comes in, she makes something very, very positive happen. And Bianca Lulich, who 6'5", and about 4 weeks ago just became an absolute dominant player. And it's funny because people say, well, she's a dominant player, then why isn't she playing? Well, we kind of have 3 that are pretty even Steven out there, and they're all different. Yeah. But 2 have more experience. And so when you get to late in the Big Ten season and you start talking about NCAA tournament play, sometimes you're going to lean towards those players that have been through it before. And then if that doesn't work, you've got Bianca to come off the bench and get the job done. But she is going to be a stud in this program. She is a really, really gifted player. So without getting into the 5 freshmen who are redshirting, I mean, the development of that group, and I give John Klanick, give Kat Jewell, give Emily Hill a lot of credit for spending a lot of time. Our girls are in the gym a lot. That's one of the beautiful things about having a volleyball, primarily a volleyball-only gym, is that it's our gym. They can be in there all day long. Wrestling shares our gym for about 5 or 6 matches a year. Yep. The rest of the time, it's a volleyball gym. And so, as I tell them often, it's open 24 hours a day. Now, they argue that because they can't get in sometimes at night. It used to be you could always get in, but now they got some unique system where you cannot get in after midnight or sometimes. So, but we certainly have that luxury that we can be in the gym, as long as we're not breaking NCAA, rules. Of course. But they can get some individual work with our staff, and I think they've taken full advantage of that. And it's just been fun to see them not just physically get better with their skills, but gain confidence match after match after match to where they feel like they're in a really good position right now.
Well, I love too as you run down through the roster. It's Ryan McAleer, sophomore, Kenna Waller, junior, Taylor Anderson, junior, Dior Charles, junior. To say nothing of the freshman,
Heaney redshirt.
He's a redshirt sophomore. Yeah,
Bianca's a sophomore, and people haven't even seen the studs of freshmen
class
that we have.
Very, very highly touted coming in.
And it's hard when you're redshirting to stay motivated. But this group has been perfect in that role. That they practice hard, they play hard. You watch them on the bench during the matches. They're as involved as anybody can possibly be. They bring spirit and energy and toughness. And so, we're in a good place. I mean, we can talk about that after the season is over. But I mean, we're in a good place. The future is bright here at Purdue, and I think our fans have to be thrilled with how our players have managed this season to keep our head above water at a time when some people thought we were sinking. And so I give all the credit to our players, all of our credit, especially those 8 that returned, how they knew the history of this program, they knew the traditions of this program, and they kept the thing moving forward in a way that a lot of people just didn't expect.
You sort of let the cat out of the bag, Kenna. Unanimous first team All Big Ten. What other news can you break here?
Well, I can say that I felt like a lot of our people were worthy of All Big Ten, but there's 24 spots on the first team, which is a large number. But that number went up from 18 to 24 when you brought in UCLA, USC, Oregon, and Washington, all of which are really good volleyball schools. So the NCAA, or the Big Ten, added on to our list. So we had 24 first-teamers, and we had 3 of them. We had Kenna, who was one of about 6 or 7 unanimous picks on that group. You had Taylor Anderson, thank goodness, or I'd have probably thrown some kind of a fit. But Taylor was on there, as is Grace Heaney. All very, very deserving of that, but I didn't know if we would get them on. Okay, it's a tough list to make. And then on the second team, we have Cash Anderson and Ryan McAleer.
Very good.
So those 5 people on that list. They have a sportsmanship award, which I think is really, really nice. Bianca Lulich is our sportsmanship winner. So 6 players represented by All Big Ten, and that means that some that are worthy probably didn't get on there. Dior Charles, who's been really good late.
Yeah.
Right now, she's certainly playing like an All Big Ten level player. Lindsey Miller just missed a lot of time, and I think that kind of prevented her from getting there. But outside of that, I think people looked at the year we had, and they realized they must have some good players.
Yeah.
It's not all smoke and mirrors, okay? So it was nice to see that we got that kind of recognition on the All Big Ten teams.
Definitely. Congratulations to all 5, all 6 of the young ladies who've been recognized by the conference. That's fantastic and well-deserved. 7:00 Thursday, Wright State. Get there early.
Well, it's 30 minutes after.
It is 30
the 4:30 match is over. So it's hard to say. That match could last an hour and 15 minutes. The match could last 2 hours. So, you don't want to come in after the start of our match. So get in there and watch the first one, Baylor and Arkansas State, and get primed for our match with a good Wright State team. That's this Thursday, and I'd say it's going to start probably around 6:30.
Okay.
Yeah.
There you go. Well, be there or be square, right? Coach, good luck.